How you doing, everybody? Today is March the 9th. It is 9:02 daylight savings time here in North America, and we're back with another episode of the weekly Gotta Be Legend podcast. If you're not familiar with us already,
Right.
you can catch us every Monday here at 9 o'clock Eastern, or you can tune in to us every Wednesday on YouTube on our official channel. This week, we have a number of topics to talk about. Once again, very busy news week, especially in the world of competitive gaming. Um, Not only do we
Competitive
have a couple of
coronavirus.
competitive coronavirus Olympics, basically, and we have a lot of interesting announcements in terms of actual game content coming up. But we do have a lot to talk about in retrospect regarding competitive esports fighting games, and we do have a special guest this night coming in a couple minutes. We'll have number one on the Battle for the Grid League at the current moment, David Dacidbro, better known as, and he'll be joining us a little later to talk about the Battle for the Grid League and his experiences. Uh,
Nice.
so once again, as always, I'm hosted by Aliens. Aliens, say hello.
What up? What up? Well, I want to say today's March 9th. Rest in peace, BIG.
All right, and Protodat.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
And just keep in mind, if you're interested in following them, you can follow them down on Twitter on the links below. And just keep in mind that they both stream, and you'll be able to find them going live almost every single day. So just keep in mind that you're able to tune in and watch them as well. So this week, we do need to talk about the coronavirus because a number of major events, have been influenced by this topic in a number of ways. And it's been handled well, and it's been handled not well. And that is kind of the
Mostly not well.
mostly well, I would say, for some, right? But in terms of fighting games, it has been handled a little poorly. I actually do want to read a tweet that came out about 20 minutes before we went live that says, due to ongoing concerns with COVID-19, the coronavirus, we're sorry to say that we won't be at Final Round 2020, and we will not be showing the Guilty Gear Strive demo or the character reveal trailers.
Wow.
This is coming from the Arc System Works official account about 20 minutes ago before we went live. Just keep in mind, however, that for anyone attending Final Round, it will be an official stop on the ArcSys World Tour of 2020. You'll still be able to earn your points, so if you're planning on attending and you're still able to make it, you are still able to compete. Not as much can be said about Mortal Kombat 11.
Yeah, that was
It was a very rough decision to make. Now, this story started about a couple weeks ago, actually. Capcom, I think, made the first announcement in terms of fighting games. They pulled out multiple stops of the Capcom Pro Tour, right?
Yeah.
Bandai Namco followed suit with a lot of their Tekken Tekken Dojo events being disqualified, and now ArcSys. But yesterday, at the time of recording, was Final Combat, the final of the MK11 Pro competition, and the day before, less than 24 hours prior to going live, we received news that NetherRealm had canceled the Last Chance qualifier, and that Final Combat would be played without a live audience. Now, I follow a lot of people on Twitter who are specifically in the Chicago area who are, of course, upset, but worse than that, this was less than 24 hours from major competition. A lot of people were still in it for the Last Chance qualifier. A lot of people were already flown out. They had already bought tickets.
Yeah.
Now, there was
sucks.
communication from NetherRealm that they were interested in reimbursing players who were, incurring costs that were non-refundable from the company that they were working with, be it the hotel, be it the flight. I don't know the outcome of that. If anyone wants to tell us, please go ahead and at any of us on Twitter. Please tell us what your experience has been. We'd love to know.
Warner Brother has money, bro.
Yeah,
I'm
Warner
sure they'll
Brother has
figure
the money.
something
I'd
out.
love to know, how they were handled or how they were taken care of in this matter. I don't have any context in that regard. However, needless to say, that was handling poorly, right? We've seen a lot of stuff like this. We've seen a lot of things like GDC, E3, PAX East, right, where we heard about these things about at least a couple days in advance.
Even South by Southwest, even though it's
South
not
by
really mostly
Southwest.
gaming,
Yeah.
that's already been canceled.
Yeah,
Right.
that's a big cancellation.
It's really weird to see that decision taken so suddenly. And it's a lesson, right? I think that, especially as much as it sucked to hear about it back when Capcom was making the first announcements, they were avoiding a situation like this. I feel. So it's a real disappointment to see something like that. That being said, some esports have taken the better of it. Counter-Strike Global Offensive, CSGO in particular. IEM Katowice was not played at a live audience, and that event set records for streaming for Counter-Strike. And not only that, a couple hours later, or I believe just about in the same day, the game peaked once again in all-time players on Steam. Right, so we're talking about a massive in growth in internet users, because now with streaming, it's the only way that they're able to play these events. So these things
Yeah,
have to be taken
I
into
agree. I
consideration.
mean, just look what's going on around you, man. I mean, they're doing all of these things to these tournaments. I mean, even sporting events, man. For example, I mean, I don't want to get into sports too much, but like in Europe, right, they have the UEFA championships for soccer. They're playing these games closed doors, and NBA, they already, told the owners, hey, start coming up with plans on how you're going to play these games without any fans. And here in Costa Rica, where Shib and I are at, they've already announced that they're going to have their soccer games behind closed doors too. So.
Yeah. That's
So
right. That's a big deal too.
That's a big deal. It's
Huge,
a really big deal.
because here in Costa Rica, man, like, it's probably, religion 1 and soccer 2, so, and that's not even, it's funny, but it's true,
It's very
so
true.
and that's okay, to each their own, nothing against that, but that just goes to show you how big soccer is here, and for them to make that decision, it's big, man, so
it's huge. So I'm very surprised.
I think they got to do it.
I'm very surprised that a decision would be made so suddenly. However,
I mean, like, yeah. There are some events that are handling it a little bit better. I want to give special shout outs to CEO Jabali.
I was thinking about that. Yeah.
yeah. Jabali, he is because this upcoming weekend, CEO Dreamland is happening. That's a big Smash Central CEO event, and he's like, look, if y'all are worried about it, I'll give you a refund. No problem. Anybody who still wants to come out and play in the tournament, you can do so. And he's working hard to make sure everybody who wants the refund gets their refund, that they're taken care of.
Yeah, I actually saw him on Twitter saying that just about a couple minutes ago. So he's been working very hard, and that's very good, right? A lot of these TOs, and one of the other events I'm thinking about is Combo Breaker coming up in May. I mean, Jabali, Rick are extremely professional tournament organizers, so I expect them to be handling it extremely well. I do think that the show will go on for Combo Breaker, and I think the show will go on for CEO as well, of course.
Yeah,
because they will be tackling these things with the intention of putting the show on, I think.
Yeah,
which is totally valid. I know Final Round got kind of stuck in a mess because Final Round, despite the issues they've been having accommodating people, they were one of the first majors coming up when this started breaking out and started becoming a point of contention for a lot of major publishers who weren't willing to sponsor events anymore. Like, SNK pulls out, and then Capcom pulls out, and then Bandai Namco pulls out, and a lot of these guys are kind of stuck there, right? They have to do it. The hotel's booked. These things are done well in advance. So it is just a call to some of these offline tournaments. Put it together. Really think about the decision you're going to make, and think about it early. Don't think about it later, because then we end up with a situation like Final Combat. However, we watched Final Combat. At least between myself, I know Aliens watched Final Combat, and it was really great. Really great streamed event. It was a really great top 8. Just in general. I do want to say that Mortal Kombat 11 continues to be interesting to watch, despite what people say about it, because Mortal Kombat 11, I think, was very signified in the winner's final set. Ninja Killer versus Sonic Fox. Ninja Killer picks his Johnny Cage, which was not something he's totally known for. He's known for his Liu Kang. He doesn't do very well against Sonic Fox's Joker. Sonic Fox put on a monster show with Joker, by the way.
Yeah.
And I have opinions on Joker, but I'm really not surprised, I suppose. And he doesn't do very well with Johnny Cage. He switches back to Liu Kang, and Liu Kang is strong, but Ninja Kill is a specialist, right? He's a character specialist for sure.
He started doing really well when he changed his variation.
Yeah. So he was able to adapt extremely well in a competitive situation just by picking a character that he is known for, right? Like, everyone knows his Liu Kang matchup if you're playing in top 8s. Despite that, he was able to do very well, right? And that's something that we see a lot of. We see a lot of character specialists in Mortal Kombat 11. We see Cetrion, Garrus. Most notably, Deoxys was not playing Garrus towards the end. He was playing Jackie Briggs because I suppose upgraded variation was just the dominant variation at the time.
Yeah, a lot of people used it.
A
Yeah, I
lot of
saw
people were
that.
talking about upgraded throughout the top 8. It did not come into the top 4. It did through Deoxys, but it didn't really make it into the top 3. And I don't think if they actually nerf that variation, I don't think it's going to be totally major. I think it's annoying. Yeah, characters are allowed to be annoying and guessing, and that's the whole reason Terminator exists, right? For these 50-50
Yeah.
situations where you just have to guess. And that's
Mhm.
fine, right? That's just they're okay with that. So I'm really sort of surprised to see Joker be the number 1, but at the same time I'm not, because I think about the time that Joker, when I was playing Joker on release, and I had said at the time that I didn't think he was particularly strong in any one area. He has a lot of options for sure, right? He has Oki, he has good normals, he has meterless launcher, Nightwolf style, good damage for 1 bar, which is extremely valuable in this game, right? Because you need to be able to confirm on 1 bar and get your damage in and get out. However, this is the fact that he doesn't excel in any of those areas, but he has a tool for every situation. More so than other characters. There are like Mortal Kombat is known for giving a lot of tools to a lot of characters, but the variation that Sonic Fox was playing just offers that right mix of good damage for bar and good setup that is perfectly acceptable, and Sonic Fox's pure skill, I think, compensated for the weaknesses that might have been there. A lot of people play, for example, Dragon Cetrion for the zoning or Jackie Breaks for the rushdown, but I don't think Joker is any of those things. He's more of like a well-spaced character, sort of this fundamental monster that you can pick. So it's a very skillful pick for him to pick a character that's not necessarily hard locked into a specific type of playstyle. I don't know what you guys think about Final Combat. What did you guys think about the bracket?
I mean, I don't know a whole lot about Mortal Kombat. I've had a kind of a passing interest in MK11 ever since it came out, because again, as a believer in FGC on the Switch,
yeah,
I've been keeping an eye on it, but every time I look at the Switch version, I'm like, okay, maybe
it's
not.
a pretty rough port, yeah.
Okay, maybe not. But I've always really enjoyed watching the game, and I think it's just insane to see Sonic Fox dominate in another game, and like
in yet another game, yeah, for sure.
Crazy. The guy is very dedicated. I mean, they're very dedicated. They're very talented. And it's insane. I love it.
You love to see it. Well, Aliens, what did you
I
think?
love to see it. Yeah.
I mean, coming into Final Combat, I knew Sonic Fox was probably gonna win. He did have some close matches, right? Of course, he did have to come back through the losers bracket, but then again, I mean, the character he was playing, just the amount of mix-ups that character has, some good anti-airs, a lot of lows. He's besides Johnny Cage, he's the only one that can cancel out of
Fatal Blow.
Out of Fatal Blow. So I mean, that character is OP. That's what I think.
Character's pretty good. Yeah, I mean that was the Johnny Cage pick in Winners Finals. That Johnny Cage was the only other character in Mortal Kombat 11 who could cancel out of his Fatal Blow. So
yeah, so to get
immediately
a
picked people up on it. Like that's a really
character,
good perk.
Yeah, bro. I mean, to get a character that's not even a Mortal Kombat character to have a perk that only one character in the whole franchise has. I mean, you could call it an equalizer, but I mean, is it really right? Because I mean, think about it. All these characters that have been DLC characters that are not Mortal Kombat characters have been OP for the most part, right?
I do think that Joker's presence within Final Combat was not major, right? I don't recall who was playing Joker outside of Sonic Fox in the top.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. So you have a character like that, plus it's Sonic Fox.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So like I said, I mean, I think that this character would not be picked by most competitive players, but Sonic Fox being able to compensate for the specific weaknesses of Joker, is class of its own. You can't balance around something like that happening. I think if you're
it's like in the right hands, developer, it's OP.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's what I'm saying. So like the fact that Ninja, had his chances, man, seriously, because there was 2 sets that he should have won. He had Sonic Fox reeling, bro. Like he had him, I think, like at 1. I think.
Yeah, he had him at a sub 1%, like 0.70, something like that HP.
And
he
should have had that. He should have
25% life lead, and he just loses it. It was really crazy. I mean, you don't see stuff like that.
It's the Joker's movesets, the specials that he throws. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just so much that he can do at once, and it's so fast. So it's like man, it's like you're getting shot by like a bunch of rockets almost, man. You know, it's crazy, man. Like it's just so much that goes on screen coming at you, you know. So he's a really offensive character, you know, and I don't know, man. Like kudos to him for sure, right? But I wasn't feeling that personally. You know, I thought it was kind of cheesy, if you ask me. You know, it's just me. You know, I'm old school, man. So you know, I don't get jiggy with all that juggle stuff and all that. You know, spamming. Nah, man, I'm old school. You know, so to me, you know, like I said, you know, it was kind of cheesy, but you know, I was really impressed in the way Ninja Killer performed though. I really wanted him to win just by the fact that he had switched, you know, the variation and he was doing really well. He was actually controlling it. You know, he was actually, you know, controlling Fox, but you know, just these timely mistakes that he made cost him. But I think if they fought again in the future, I think, you know, he might actually be able to pull through because he was controlling the fight. And, you know, it was just really, really disappointing, I think, you know. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's Sonic Fox, right? So what do
Oh
you
yeah,
expect?
it's Sonic
Yeah.
Fox for sure. I was not surprised, I suppose, by the outcome. I don't think anyone can be, but I do hope that we do get to see Ninja Killer back on a stage with Sonic Fox in the future because it was very interesting.
I think we will.
Two people who master a specific character and go out there to kind of prove people wrong, right? Because people had their predictions about who were going to be in the top 8, what characters were going to be strong, and I think most people were wrong by the overall outcome. So we do have to talk about the big announcement.
Mhm.
Spawn in Mortal Kombat 11. After all this time, he's been
Dope.
the classic comic book character finally in Mortal Kombat after years and years of the fan base asking. What did you guys' first reaction to the trailer?
Right. It's a good pick.
It's a great pick.
Again, I mean, you know, you know, it's something I don't, you know, I don't play Mortal Kombat. It's been probably 10 plus years since I've touched a Mortal Kombat game, but you know, these character selections for the combat pack have just been knocking it out of the park for me. I thought Joker looked really cool and almost, you know, made me buy the game. The same thing with Spawn. Spawn looks really cool,
It looks
man.
great.
You know, is it? I don't even like Spawn. I don't know anything about Spawn outside that he was in the Xbox versions of Soul Calibur 2.
Yeah, he was in Soul
Mhm.
Calibur.
But you know, that's fine. He's a cool looking character. He's got a really cool super, really cool fatality, really cool windscreen too.
Yeah, I really like the intro personally.
Yeah.
I love stuff like that.
His
Yeah,
tone, you know,
yeah.
Oh yeah, Keith David doing the
Keith
voice
David,
again.
yeah.
Really good.
Keith David, man, he killed it, man. He killed it.
You
know?
feel like you watch Keith David's voice, you see Keith David's performance in the trailer, and you feel like you know that character, despite maybe you've never interacted with him, but you're like, you know what, that voice sounds familiar in this kind of like action hero cartoon way that you really like, right? It invokes this sort of nostalgia, maybe even for people who are not too familiar with it. I think
Yeah.
just so well executed. I do think the Spawn trailer was obviously fantastic. You know, NetherRealm is masters of they're masters of their craft. Uh, a lot of people, when you ask them, Spawn, what do you think? People were saying,
Guns.
guns and cape. People were saying,
Yep.
where's the cape? Because obviously, you know, the Xbox version of him didn't have the cape, and capes are difficult to animate, right? So people were
Yeah,
like,
they are.
where's the cape, right? Where's the cape? How's it gonna look? Is it gonna be good? Is it gonna be great? And I mean, when he opens the cape to show up all the guns for the fatal blow, it was
That was dope.
that was
and how
great.
he glided, and how he glided.
Yeah, and he's got
also.
the midair glide, which looks like it's gonna be really good, by the way.
That was cool. I mean, I saw it. I'm like, is that Batman?
That's gonna lead to some dirty mix-ups.
Yeah, it's gonna be nasty. Like air game and that is gonna be tough.
But he looks like a brute character. You see, like his movement isn't as fast, right? So I think he's gonna remind people a lot of Terminator for some reason. I just get that impression.
I think he's going to have many options because I actually said my initial reaction was, what a great character for variation system. It finally makes sense because this is a character that, you know, he's got his guns, he's got his mysticism, and he's got his melee weapons, right? Like he's got,
Yeah.
So that actually reflects, you know, there's weapon counters, and he's got, you know, gimmicks with his cape as a counter system. He's got it looks like command grabs that give him invincibility, right, or invisibility rather, and you know, he's got, it look like combo enders using his sword and his mace, right? So it's really great. that he has all those options, and it perfectly makes sense, right? Because you want those 3 aspects of the character, but you don't want to leave any one of them out. So arguably, this could have been done in Mortal Kombat X as well, but I think that the graphic representation of Spawn in this game is going to be greatly bigger than anything they were going to do prior to MK11, right?
Yeah, it looks great.
It looks amazing.
Yeah,
so I don't.
It fits. You know?
It fits perfectly well. He's going to be out March 17th for early access. We are for sure going to be playing it. Yeah, we're going to be playing it, getting footage, checking out all his stuff. I saw some footage of his custom skins on the Mortal Kombat subreddit, and he's got like the classic Spawn, he's got Commando Spawn, he's got like a classic, like a custom skin that NetherRealm gave him that he looks kind of like Noob Saibot. Like, it looks amazing.
Oh wow!
I am really looking forward to seeing some of the skins that he has available, and I'm not sure if he's gonna be for me. I really like Sindel and Joker personally as DLC characters. I like Sindel a lot, actually. I think she's just kind of this perfect spacing monster that just gets crazy crushing blows because people don't really know her that well. And Joker's a lot of fun too. I think he's got really good normals that are like really satisfying to land.
He's goofy looking.
Yeah, he's goofy. He's definitely a fun character to play for sure. And,
yeah, he's cool.
And I look forward to trying Spawn and seeing what kind of character he's gonna be. I think he's gonna just have like, I think he's gonna be that character with wildly different variations. I think, just crazy differences that he can turn into. And that's really cool. And if you're unfamiliar with the matchup, it's gonna be a monster. But hey, we're allowed to do that.
Yeah.
So
all right.
Yeah, we've talked about Mortal Kombat, and now we have to talk about Power Rangers Battle for the Grid.
All right. So got a special guest this evening. Let's see. What's the best way to add him to the call? Is there an option? Should I just close the call and then reopen it back up?
Yeah, we can go ahead and do that.
Okay. So let's go ahead and leave call, then we'll reopen it.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Loud and clear?
All right. Over here?
I just joined.
Hey!
That was just a lucky guess on the timing.
Oh,
Nice.
Good. Perfect. It all worked out. So yeah, we'd very much like to welcome our guest this week, Dacidbro, who is currently number 1, I believe, on the Battle for the Grid League rankings. Is that right?
Still correct. Thank you.
I had to make sure before I went out. I was like, is he really still number 1 after all this time?
Yeah, I think so.
No, he is.
I think the lead has actually greatened, so feels good.
Feels
That's
good.
Awesome.
Feels good.
Yeah, because you just won. What was the name of the event you just won? Was it Combo Breaker?
So it was Frosty Faustings.
Frosty, yeah. I get all these events mixed up.
Chicago event, another Chicago event, pretty much the same thing.
Yep. Makes sense. All right, so for those of you who do not know, I know you guys have heard me talk a lot about Power Rangers Battle for the Grid on my channel. Always
yeah, for sure.
singing the praises of that game as much as I can.
We do that here. We do that all the time.
Yeah, to buy that game because it's great. But there's actually a lot of really awesome dev support behind the game. For those of you who don't know, the Inway, the developers for Battle for the Grid, are running a circuit of sorts, which is going to be offline and online, and they have a very intricate ranking system, and then it's going to end up at Evo as a top 8 invitational. Is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct.
Yeah. So, how are you feeling about the league so far, Dacid?
Well, good. This has been a very surprising year to me. The entire last year, I was playing Battle for the Grids because it was made by cool people I'm 1 degree separated by, and I believed in what they were doing with it. And then after they got the game into a very interesting and competitive place, they just threw $15,000 in a league at it. I was like,
money at it.
I was like, what? That was not. I kind of expected this to be the year where it lost steam, and it was kind of that was a good run, but it's over. And actually, it's just been by far the biggest moment for the game. Yeah. So it's been exciting. It's been a surprisingly competitive year for me, in a year that I really thought was going to be kind of an off year for me. I'm actually juggling 5 different fighting games. It's been crazy.
Yeah,
that's hard.
It is hard.
Yeah.
And I'm not Sonic Fox either, so I'm not generally winning all these fights.
Just competing, just trying to do your best.
That's
Uh,
right.
Yeah.
so what did you what have you been coming from? Like for people who aren't familiar with you, where did you come from prior to for Power Rangers?
Yeah, so the very first game I actually stuck the landing in competitively was Blaze Blue CS1. That was
Right.
like 2010. Um, After that, I had a good streak in Persona 4 Arena. And then I went to Marvel vs. Capcom 3. I played Dragon Ball Fighters. There were a few more around there, but that's like the gist of it.
Gotcha.
Yeah. The big stuff. The big stuff.
And Catherine, sorry, there's a huge
Yeah.
excerpt missing there.
I was
Catherine's a
just like, I actually think I was just reading an article about Catherine earlier.
yeah,
Catherine Competitive is interesting. Anybody who's not familiar with it, go watch some Catherine Competitive.
yeah,
Yeah.
that game's crazy.
Yeah, I've heard lots of crazy stuff. So, so with this huge amount of dev support behind the game, which is nothing short of phenomenal. I know Smash players are very jealous right now.
Oh yeah.
Which is hilarious to me. So you're number one. Who are you kind of eyeballing? Who's kind of risen up these ranks? That might be kind of a threat.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of dangerous players on this list. Sundula is who I had grand finals with at Frosty's. Obviously, he's still really dangerous. Actually, there's another piece of that I have a money match with him as well. Sundula and Lap are going to play against me and Fear for $250 at an upcoming major.
That's going to be good.
Actually, that one's not even on the league stop. That's just
That's just the thing we're doing. Yeah, I'm aware of that.
Bum just threw $1,000 of that one before the league was even announced. So, and then as we go down the list, Technique, Fibonacci, Pat, Bonchito, Free, and then my friend locally, Drew Chuck. Like everyone's been doing a lot of damage on that list. There's also some like kind of unorthodox teams showing up on this list, so it's been a lot. So we just got hit by a big patch. This 2.0 patch was a major patch for the game. So everyone's kind of like reeling from the impact of that. So there's been a lot of different directions people are sprinting in right now.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be very critical to these upcoming majors.
And people have actually been talking about patch cadence as sooner than later in regards to some of the changes that have been made for 2.0. What do you think? Where do you think the game's at right now in terms of like now versus then?
Yeah, like to say, is another patch coming soon?
Do you think that they should change the balance of the game sooner than later? Because a lot of people, when 2.0 came out, they were saying, oh, some of these changes, I don't really like them. Some of these characters got off with just a slap on the wrist, and a lot of the characters are a lot worse now. So what do you think?
My perspective is a little more jaded as far as like my history in fighting games and also where I started with this game. I mean, you can't really do anything with this game that's going to make me feel like, oh, that's too unfair. It's like, I've seen this game in a state where it wasn't even playable, right? It's like, I don't care what they do with it. It's in an amazing state right now.
Yeah.
I
got the game day one. I think we talked about this at CEO Otaku about
I played the game day negative 100 something.
Yeah, I know you've been kind of behind the scenes, so you've seen way more than I have.
It has come a very long way. Yeah, and it's like in that regard, I would prefer to just say, what do I have in front of me? What do I need to figure out for this patch? What wins for this patch? And that's really where my head's at. I'm not too worried about if they patch now or later. I just want to win.
Okay.
There you go.
I feel that. That's actually very, very good perspective to have. It's
healthy.
It's healthy. Yeah. It's a stark contrast to some of the things I've been seeing. Like especially when the patch dropped, I was like, this is like shout out to I'm not gonna name any names. Shout out to the Twitter post I saw like 2 days after. This is not the game that I once loved. You know who you are if you tweeted that.
Oh wow.
Really? But
that sounds like Mega Isaac to me.
No names, but he probably knows who it is.
Just has the right tone.
Just has the right sound to it. For sure. But it's been great to actually see, and you nailed it from the first start. It's something that I talked about with Shady K. We saw a hill to climb here, right?
Yeah.
Going into this year, we didn't expect the game to go higher, right? We thought that when Dan Southworth was confirmed and we heard about this, that we were at the top of our game. And then we had $15,000 on the line and an Evo appearance. I want to say that an Evo appearance has reinforced a belief that I have regarding tournaments. one of the things that I immediately thought about when they announced the Evo lineup is when do I get to find out what other interesting tournaments are going on at Evo, right? Because
Sure.
you're not going to hear about Battle for the Grid's finals, but it's going to be there. And a matter of fact is that
Mhm.
during the same Evo weekend last year, we were still there for the finals.
Yeah.
And we even went to with Cross Counter TV over there to Barcade, if I'm Bar Fights, so it was
Bar fights.
Bar Fights, and we're set to do something like that again this year. So I stress people listening that if you are interested in a game, you should go out and look for these tournaments going on around majors, right? Because I mean, there are some tournaments that do it better than others. Shout out to Combo Breaker doing Multi Blood on main stage this year, and of course Battle for the Grid.
Mhm.
But you guys should really make an effort to explore the competitive scene and demand that these tournament organizers tell you what else is going on, right? Because especially now with these cancellations of major world tour stops, there's going to be a lot of interesting things that you can also check out during your spare time, right? When you get a chance to watch a stream.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in watching competitive fighting games, please take a look at some of these stops.
Yeah.
Please be interested in some of these locals that are going on, right?
Mhm.
I don't know, Proto. What else do
Yeah.
you have to say?
Yeah, so I mean, another thing, I think a lot of people undersell mentality as actually a really useful skill for competitive play. I've been playing competitively for going on 10 years something now.
You sound so tired.
Yeah. I'm also
We're
going.
all tired.
I'm going through a lot of tooth pain right now.
No, I feel you.
So I'm hyped up on pain medication and I'm raring to go. So we're doing good. We're doing good. And I'm probably going to stream Power Rangers after this anyway. So,
all right.
But yeah, so mentality. You being number one in literally any game is hard. Literally,
I'm going to say, I've also never been here before. I've never really been able to stick a pin on it and say, like, yes, verified. Look at the leaderboard right now. I am number one. That's never been my place. I've always been an underdog. I've always been looking for an upset.
So how does that feel? Like literally being at the very top, coming from all these different games, and suddenly you're the guy to beat.
Yeah, and I think what's important is I don't stake my expectations high. I think what's important is that I need to learn a lot right now. I need to learn a ton about this new patch. I need to learn a ton about my opponents. I need to just learn, and I go to every tournament with a mantra of train to win and compete to learn, and that flips my nerves. It's like when I'm training, I should be focused on what my goals are, but when I'm actually competing, I should be focused on what I can pick out of this match, both for my own development and also just because it's better for playing against people. When you're paying attention to what they're doing and thinking about it and processing individual things, you'll just play better. You'll beat them. You'll be less nervous. You won't take your head out of the match. And I think that's what it is to me.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's just, just speaking from one competitor to another, like that's great advice. And I've dabbled in unretiring myself, so I think I needed that because I've always struggled with mentality.
Sure.
And stubbornness. I think I've gotten at least 3 DMs from you telling me to drop Sinnoh from my team, and I won't do it.
And you just won't do it.
I won't do it.
Yeah, I told you the game's healthy. That doesn't mean play anyone.
Yep. But yeah, so you've watched this game grow from before its infancy, to where it's at now. And how do you feel the game stacks up against these other tag fighters? Like Dragon Ball's getting really big right now because of its new season.
Yeah.
New DLC characters. And I don't know about where you're from, but where I'm from, Marvel 3 is making a comeback of all things.
Yeah.
How do you feel it stacks up against the other tag fighters out there currently on the market?
Yeah, I think to start that thought, Dragon Ball Season 3 is really cool to me. I think they finally did what they needed to do with that game, and it's just great to see. It's also great to see that Trunks looks phenomenal for once, instead of being sort of underrated. That's like the character I fell in love with in that game, and he's just been slightly under the cut every time.
Same.
And I think they finally figured out how to make these more interesting characters thrive, and that's what the EX changed, to take it down to half a bar, to not shock your meter game afterwards. You can actually use these cool moves that are in the game. They've been there the whole time. that, in addition to giving people 3 assists, you can actually do a ton of interesting things in that game right now, and that's just awesome. I love the changes they made to this season. To come back to the original point of like where does Grid stack up against these other team fighters, I think it has a healthy and unique place. It is not like the other ones. It has this. The most important mechanic in Grid is that you call your character's assist. It's 1 assist, but you can tag before, during, or after that assist, and that has massive implications on what you should be doing in the game. And there's no cross-up protection, so you are going to die in this game.
Going to get mixed, yes.
And because of that, it's like you need to have a very imposing round start, and you need to mitigate your risk so much in this game. So then, like, the most sophisticated teams are both so threatening and so safe. And then when those two are clashing up against each other, that's where you get the really interesting interactions. And you get the free form choices. Actually, here's one of the weirdest things. I don't even know if this was intentional, but you can tag your assist after it gets hit as well. And that has huge implications as well that also need to be solved in these circumstances. Like I can call, like Super Saiyan Vegeta, and then he gets clipped and falls down and comes up off the ground, and then I could tag to him after all of that. That does major things to the game states as well. I think solving those sorts of things, the optimization in this game is most important over everything. It's like you need to solve these metas, and you need to solve what your opponent's doing during a long set.
Yeah, I agree. I still have trouble wrapping my head around the tag system. Because there's just so much you can do out of it. It's the limit is really your imagination. And I think it's the game. Speaking from, I've taken my setup to just tournaments for I mostly play Smash offline as far as tournaments goes, and I'll take it to a lot of the people who play there. They're scared of of traditional fighters.
Right.
Yeah, they're scared of it. They're like, I don't want to worry about doing all kinds of crazy stuff. Like they won't touch Ryu or Ken in that game in Smash just because they don't want to. They're scared of it. But I've taken them Battle for the Grid, and I've sat it down in front of people and be like, look, you've got forward special, back special, neutral special, and jump special. And there you go. And they'll sit down, and it's interesting to see them kind of figure these things out. And I think the game's really hit a wonderful spot of technical accessibility, still backed by absurd depth.
Yeah. I think it strikes a very interesting balance that I don't think BB Tag necessarily does. Because, I mean, BB Tag looks simple. It's got a very simple system, but nothing about that game is necessarily simple. It very much relies on its universal mechanics. It relies on character quirks. I mean, BlazBlue is known for that kind of thing, the character quirks and specific abilities that they have. So I think that the depth of knowledge that you would have to get into there is a little higher than I think Battle for the Grid. Battle for the Grid, you just got to be on point with your reactions and your knowledge of what kind of mixes are coming, or just being able to make reads in situations that that don't appear in other tag fighters. Like we said, no cross up protection. So have fun with that sandwich.
Yeah. Although a lot of the things that make a Battle for the Grid team good make a BB Tag team good as well. It's like you'll see like Omniscythe uses Adachi Beam at the start and pick up 2 characters all the time and cross tag. It's like that's the same idea. Like you need an imposing round start that leads to threat, and you need to mitigate your risk. It's actually very familiar concepts, but the way you apply it is very different.
Now I got a question for you, Dacidbro. I don't have the game, but being that you're number 1 right now in the leaderboards, I wanted to ask you, for somebody that might be interested in getting this game, number 1, what would you tell them as, like, what's the selling point to that person that might be interested in getting this game? Like, what sets it apart from any other game that might be available out on the market now at its price point? And also, what tips would you give them, right? For somebody like me who's a total noob of the game. I mean, I've seen shit play and I've seen Proto play, and it looks really cool, actually. I'm not gonna lie. And it's got a lot going on, but it's kind of intimidating also, because I've never really been into those type of tag fighters except for Tekken Tag, which is a little bit slower, right? So my question would be, how would you recommend this game? Like, what are its points that may want to cause a person to go in and be like, hey, I'm gonna give this a try. Like it's got this, it's got that. And what tips would you give to a beginner, being that you're number one and you've probably seen everything, right? So
Yeah.
what
So
what would you say?
I'll try to sequence that in order. I think one of the biggest selling points for this game is that if you're doing the mix-up correctly, absolutely anyone is going to get hit by this stuff. There's both free-form and highly structured mix-up that will work on literally anyone. Like, this game is so dangerous that, like, you're not going to be fighting people and just be like, I don't understand why I can't hit them. If you're doing things even remotely correctly, like, you can set up an easy sandwich front back, and then just like when you tag or don't, your opponent will have to like guess or like reversal front back. It's so threatening that you won't just have these dead end games where you don't understand why you can't hurt someone. I think that's a very key accessibility point. And then inverted, it's not as oppressive in some regards. In Marvel 3, you get hit on the incoming and you're guessing front, back, left, right, and before you can even do anything, your character got mixed up 50 times in the air. In this game, there's actually an auto block. As long as you're in the air, it will auto block forward, back without input. So when you're in the air, you can't be mixed up. And that means that you have more survivability in this game. Like, you don't just get cheesed out. Yeah, it protects you on the way, and you don't just get obliterated before you can even do something about it. I think that is also friendly to players, where you don't just get ground into dust after your character dies.
Right.
There's still some really cheap setups, don't get me wrong, but there's something you can do as you land, because it takes the blocks down to 0 as your feet touch the ground. So you can press reversals. You can activate your Zord comeback factor. Like, there's things you can do again. And then after that, there was one more point that was my tips to a new player. I would say focus on the round start. Over anything else in the game, you need to start correctly. If you start better than your opponent, you have them on defense when they don't have meter. It's so important to have a very, very high impact, oppressive, and low risk round start. That's the most important thing.
Right, get off to a good start.
And then when you make them block something, you need to use your other assist that you were hopefully saving to actually get like mix-ups off of that. Maybe it's just grab plus assist and then tag. Maybe it's, you get behind them, call the assist on the front side. And anytime you get a sandwich in this game, just like if you do or don't tag, it's so cheap. It's like the most crazy mix-up. And it's so freeform because you could do it now or later. And like if you have them tagged into a sandwich, they're in a really rough spot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. And I mean, there are the obvious points. Yeah, for sure. They're the obvious points, right? It's $20 to get started. It's got full online suite of features, right?
Crossplay.
We got big crossplay.
Is a phenomenal
thing that we just can't stop. We can't love more here on GBL, because we got players on our Nintendo Switch, we got PS4 players, we got PC players, we got Xbox players. We literally have every console and PC represented here, and we still all come together and play the game, right? It's just not something that we can do.
These guys actually.
Yeah, they actually have all system crossplay, and they also have very good rating netcode. So and somehow like a lot of people that are talking about netcode just managed to gloss right over this game, and it actually drives it crazy.
I've told people that. Like I had a guy. People know about the netcode though, which is crazy. I went to a regional here in Florida for Ultimate. Yeah, and I had a guy come up to me and he's like, "Yo, you play Battle for the Grid, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "It's like Marvel but with good netcode, right?" I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah, fair enough, right?
So I was like, so people know, and this actually comes to another thing I was going to ask you, because you've been to more events for this game than just about anybody else that I know. Have you been seeing an uptick in entries lately? Because from the brackets that I've seen the numbers, they're looking better and better every event that I look at.
Yeah, the photo from Frosty's was huge compared to anything I'd seen before. I mean, over in Florida, I think we had, what was it, 16, 24?
Yeah, we had 16.
It was double that of Frosty's, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So I made sure they got a photo before I even left, so I'm sure they have that somewhere. I'll get them to post that another time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's more like 40 or 50 now, and that's after the league is announced.
Amazing. That's amazing. I could not be happier. Yeah.
I hope it's even larger in the coming ones. Final round might be low. I just don't think a lot of people travel to final round specifically. But I'll be really interested to see the entries for Combo Breaker, CEO, and then who shows up for the LCQ at Evo.
Yeah. So what's your next event that you're going to for Battle for the Grid?
Yeah, it's about to get pretty crazy. I think in about 1.5 weeks, I go to Atlanta for final round. The very next week, I go to Michigan Masters. I don't think they really have Power Rangers there. And then the week after that, I'm going to Bums in New York. And then the week after that, I have NorCal Regionals, which is a major stop.
Yeah, that is.
I'm about to be very tired.
No,
Well,
but
another
I
question.
think
That's with all this stuff going on with the coronavirus. How does that make you feel about traveling and going to these events and being around other people? What precautions are you taking?
Yeah, so it's a good question. It's on everyone's mind. For me, I've looked up the disease. To my understanding, it is in many ways like another flu, and it will become like another flu. To that end, I'm just washing my hands. I'm making sure that I take all the flu preventative measures.
Yeah.
And then I'm capitalizing on like half off flights to the tournaments that I need to go to. And for me, like I'm going to these grid stops. Like I can't justify not going to that because of this. And I think different people are in different spots. I won't really be interacting with elderly in the near future, so I think it makes sense for me to be involved. With this community.
Yeah, it's one of those things. If you're on top of washing your hands and not touching your face a lot. You've always got to find that that happy medium between picking your nose and drinking bleach, to protect yourself or to not protect yourself. So, definitely 20 seconds, everybody.
Yeah,
20 seconds. But yeah, I think that about wraps it up for the Battle for the Grids. Battle for the Grid section of the podcast. So, where can people find you?
Yeah, the most active fighting game place that I post is Twitter, just at Dacidbro. I've got a little blue check mark, so no one's impersonating me. And I also have a stream that I kicked up this year again too on twitch.tv/Dacidbro. So that's another place.
Check them out.
That's right on this platform.
Yeah, those streams are actually very fun. I've poked my head in a few times watching you play Dark Souls.
I appreciate. Yeah, the Dark Souls invasions are fun.
That's been a lot of fun to watch.
That is a really fun gimmick. I'm going to go over the quick summary. It's like a low-level capped thing, and I invade with like really unfair gear. But then, like, even if there's like 3 or 4 of them, I can still take them. I love that shit. It's
just be an absolute terror.
Very entertaining.
That's great. That's it. I don't know if you have any last-minute comments, any last-minute shout-outs, anything you have any opinions that you want to get out there right now.
Well, I appreciate you having me here. This is just a really exciting time for Grid, and I don't know. It's hard for me to even fully grasp what kind of year this is for Power Rangers because I really, from the start, have just been playing this game because I love it, and I just believe in the game and the developers so much. So for it to be such a cool and major year for the game. Oh, and I also don't usually have 2 first to 10s and another like team exhibition for $250. Like this is just such a bizarre year for me. I always wanted that experience with Marvel 3. I was kind of on the sidelines and I just wasn't good enough. I wasn't strong enough. I wasn't coherent enough in fighting games to really be at the center of it. So it's thrilling. It's really thrilling. And I appreciate you having me on to talk about it.
Oh, we're glad you came,
Thank you so much for coming on. It's always a pleasure. I hope to catch you. Are you going to be at CEO this year?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Okay. I think I'm helping run that. I'm not entirely sure right now.
Okay.
Just show up. I'm sure they'll need somebody.
I mean, I'm going to show up regardless. I'm going to be there. It's an hour from my house. I'm not going to miss that.
Yeah, I'll see you at the Wyndham Resort with a drink, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds great. But all right, man. Thank you so much for coming on, okay?
Yeah, have a great night, everyone.
Yeah, good
rest of
you.
Thanks, Dacid.
Thanks, good night.
Night. It's cool, man. Numero uno, guys. Numero uno.
That was Dacidbro.
Coming on.
Competitive battle for the great
Still,
player.
Man.
Yeah.
It's really great to hear from the community and the developers themselves weigh in on the situation, right? Because the community has been very tight from the start. And as he mentioned, this is a game that he's been playing even before it came out, right? So for him to be able
Mhm.
to compete in it and to be able to take it to the next level that he wasn't able to do in other games is really interesting, right? You don't see that a lot. You don't hear these stories out of other fighting games, right? You hear the outsider perspective of a competitive player, but you really don't hear
Mhm.
about somebody kind of seeing it grow up into this mature product that it is now. So Battle for the Grid,
Yeah.
guys, if you're not familiar with the Power Rangers Battle for the Grid, available right now for Nintendo Switch, Xbox One, PlayStation 4, PC on Steam, $20 to get started, 2 season passes, amazing netcode, amazing lobbies. It's the whole
Yeah.
thing, guys.
Get it.
You don't
It's a blast.
understand. I do want to give a brief shout out to the Battle for the Grid subreddit over there. Obviously, been my project for a little while now,
Yeah,
and
please
if you
shout
are
out to that.
interested in having your event shouted out, right, listed on the sidebar and sticky on the account on the page or announced right under moderator approval, please reach out to me on Twitter. Send us a mod mail on Reddit. I had an open call earlier today to get some online weeklies that have been going on because a lot of people now, especially with the coronavirus, they've been able to
Yeah.
take online seriously, and thankfully we're playing a game where online is a competitive place to be, right?
Mhm.
A lot of people have this mentality in other games. Smash, they talk about Wi-Fi tournaments. Delay-based netcode
Yeah.
games, they talk about, just the fact that you're not able to play with people consistently on a good internet connection, right? But in this game, we're able to have conversations about who's good and who's not good, just based on
Yeah.
online, right? People are playing online perfectly well, right? So it's obviously a great privilege to be
Yeah.
part of the community.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna help it
And
grow for
and
sure.
yeah, definitely recommend it. Definitely recommend checking out the online. Which quick shout outs. Speaking of online tournaments, just want to do like a quick
Yeah,
little
go for it.
advertisement. Yep. I'll be running a Super Smash Bros. Ultimate online tournament this Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern time. It'll be streamed on my channel at Protodad's Dojo. Giving away a $10 eShop card for first prize. And this is going to be a bi-weekly thing, and it's not always going to be Smash.
Money, people, money.
So
Free money,
maybe
guys.
y'all will see Power Rangers on there in the near future.
I think you should.
I think I should too.
Yeah, for sure, man.
You gotta show up to
Just
the
don't invite
dojo.
Dacid, bro, because he's gonna beat everybody.
No, he's gonna show up. He's got.
I love, say what you will. I love watching high level play.
That's
Yeah,
cool,
it's amazing.
cool.
I love watching high play.
High level Power Rangers is like something else.
It's nutty. It's nutty.
I mean, I get scared watching it, man. I watch Shib and you play, and I'm like, man, like
I'm
Yeah,
not
it's
high level, dude.
interactive. We just play. We just
I'm just mashing that heavy button all up in his face. That's all I'm doing.
he's playing Jason, and I'm like, man, this is the third time I've gotten hit by standing heavy. Shit. Wow,
seriously,
this
man.
standing heavy. Wow, it's really good. This overhead, it's really good.
Oh my goodness, so much fun. Anyway, so what's next on the list, Shib?
All right, we got
Lay
a
it on
couple
us.
things to talk about. I gotta lay it on you guys. We're gonna shift gears from fighting games to exclusively shooters, if you can believe it, because apparently
Bang bang.
it's the 1990s again, and shooters are the biggest genre on the earth.
That's right.
And traditional shooters at that. So well, let's not talk about a traditional shooter first. Let's talk about battle royale. Just when you thought battle royales were dead, right? There's been a rumor for a very long time. There's been leaks everywhere regarding Call of Duty Modern Warfare taking a new battle royale mode into the game, right? But we hadn't seen it. It's been almost a year. It hasn't been out. We haven't seen anything about it, and then we did. We saw much more official looking leaks. We saw leaked trailers and leaked details about the launch window for something called Call of Duty Warzone. This actually first got leaked through a gaming channel on YouTube by the name of Chaos that broke embargo a couple hours early. Looks like it might have just been a time zone error. And
Is it safe to shout them out because of that?
Yeah, it's all over the news. That's how I found out.
Shout out to them, bro.
Shout out to Chaos, right? No, I found that out later. I was like, oh wow, Chaos, they really leaked this thing, huh? And obviously the news got on top of it, and their video there was showing off the game and all the mechanics and stuff. And the trailer wasn't even out yet at the time. And then they started slowly lifting the embargo, and all these other guys were getting copies of the trailer, and eventually the account tweeted it out. If you guys don't know, 150 player battle royale, free to play, cross-play, through PC, PS4, and Xbox One, just like Modern Warfare. You don't have to own the game. You can download it separately, but if you own Modern Warfare, it's going to be a separate patch. I actually saw a tweet a couple minutes ago that said that the patch was going to be about 20 gigs for people who own the game already, and it's 100 gigs base install. So clear up that hard drive if you don't have it already. Game. Yeah, it's a real pain on my hard drive personally.
Yeah, me too.
And 150 players again. It's gonna have 2 game modes. One is based on collecting more money than all the other players, and the other one is just traditional battle royale. And I actually think it's called plunder mode, the money collecting version, and it's actually quite interesting.
Yeah,
it's actually interesting. Listen to this. It's you collect money on the map, and you need to rack up the score, but it's not quite just collecting the money. You have to put it in an ATM, and when you open the ATM, it's kind of like Apex Legends respawn points. It alerts everybody around you that you're depositing, right? So you have to be stopped prior to making the deposit.
Okay.
And anybody who at the end, I guess there's a time limit. I'm not quite sure, but the person who deposits the most money wins the game, right? So, and that's aside from the traditional, last person standing battle royale. Now, all of these game modes will have singles, doubles, and trio options, right? So if you're salty because Apex Legends still doesn't have solos, this is your game, right? Completely free. I will say
they're coming for their neck, man.
They're coming for the neck, man. Apex Legends, no crossplay, no singles, no doubles. Especially
it's been rough
since it's
Respawn too. Those guys used to be Activision Call of Duty guys. That used to be Infinity Ward, so they're coming for their neck in that case.
Yeah, they're definitely coming back with that gunplay from Modern Warfare. I'm pleased, I guess. I think the game is very good. I'm glad that this did not come first, as I say. Blackout did not live very long on PC.
No.
So I'm glad that it has crossplay. So maybe I'll actually be able to try it and give my opinions. I do think that the game will need a lot of optimization for it to be worth it, because this is free and all, and that's nice, but if you're playing on the PC version, you need a monster PC to actually play this game. You need a very up-to-date gaming PC to actually handle the graphics at play, all the animations, all the physics. Like, it's not easy, guys. Like me, I can barely stream that game. It's really tough. So it's I hope that when I get in it, I hope that it has more options so that more people can play it on PC, because it's just it's kind of a mess on PC.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll try it. I've got a mid-range PC. I mean, I actually really like battle royales. To be
you like battle royales.
I was gonna say I play Fortnite on a fairly regular basis. But so this is kind of interesting to me because I haven't played a whole lot of Call of Duty in a long time.
Which is, it's a very traditional Call of Duty this time around, so I think you'll be able to get into it.
Yeah, so
a lot more than Black Ops, but
and it's tomorrow too, right?
It's tomorrow. It'll be out tomorrow. There's global launch windows. If you go look it up on Twitter, there's global launch windows for your specific region of the world, so you'll be able to just get started tomorrow if you're interested in it. So that's Call of Duty. We're gonna be in it. We're probably gonna be playing tomorrow. So keep it here. Check out our Twitters respectively to see if we're gonna be live playing. I'll try to if I have the time. I feel like what I'm gonna end up doing is that this Call of Duty is gonna make me end up downloading Fortnite again. is what's gonna happen. I'm like, all right, I guess I can play some Fortnite again. And
Fortnite on PC scares me though. I play mostly on Switch, and we're like off on our own separate server with the mobile people.
Yes, you are.
And when I played on the PC with the PC people, like I win a lot of matches on Switch.
I'll play with you on PC. I'll hook up my controller and we'll play some duos.
I was gonna say we actually we stream. We've streamed that game a pretty decent amount with the Nintendo Jump people, which is another really good podcast. If you like Nintendo games, Nintendo Jump podcast, definitely check them out. But yeah, I play a lot. I stream a lot with Fortnite with them. I haven't in a little while, but
maybe we'll check it out again. I'm actually quite interested. I'm quite interested in diving back into Battle Royale again. Yeah.
Yeah, we were considering that too.
Aliens and I were talking about Fortnite.
Fortnite. Battle Royale. The new patch is good.
Is it? Yeah, like season 2.
Yeah, the chapter 2 patch. 2, yeah. Like the game feels more responsive. I don't know if it actually is, but like I feel like everything that I'm doing is just landing way better now. Performance on Switch is still kind of questionable.
It's kind of rough. I actually play it. When I do play it, I play it on Switch because of the smaller patch sizes, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is a little rough. But I really like just playing like a casual game of Team Rumble, so I can check out the patch changes. That's usually what I do, and that chugs on my Switch. But I guys, Battle Royale is here to stay, I suppose, because we got another
Yep.
major release coming out. But let's talk about traditional FPS. So Halo.
Yes.
I like Halo Reach. Okay, I really like Halo Reach. It's a specific piece of my memory.
it's
It's a specific piece of me growing up being hyped for this game. Okay, so I look at it through a very different window than most people might, right? But everybody was like, well, where's Halo Combat Evolved? Right? This is the game that everybody wants to play. People want it again. I mean, you can still play the original, but it's just not the same. People want this new supported version that you can play with all your friends on Steam and all this stuff, right? So
Yep.
we finally have it. Combat Evolved has made its way to Steam. Aliens and I have played a couple matches in multiplayer, and I checked out the campaign briefly. There's actually been a lot of people talking about how it's not quite on point with the original PC port. There are some missing effects. There are some strange things. Actually, a lot of things that were already in the anniversary update made its way to PC, and we didn't hear about it back then, but now we're hearing about them because now through the growth of social media, people can point these differences out, right?
Oh
Right.
yeah.
Like the fact that the remastered graphics has different geometry from the one. Yeah, Digital Foundry has a really good video breaking down all the changes. But I will say the experience is there. It's fun as it's ever been.
I'm enjoying it.
We finally have online co-op on the PC, which we didn't have previously. The game did not have co-op through campaign previously prior to this. It's only 2 players, right? So it's actually been an experience, right? Because it's very, very much old school.
Very old school.
It's
Very
very,
arena-like.
very specific spawn system. One of the things that people kind of notice first about the multiplayer is that spawning is very finicky, very like gets you in the action very quickly. I actually read an interesting report about Halo competitive the other day about Combat Evolved specifically, that apparently the dominant format for Combat Evolved competitive is 2 versus 2 because of the spawn system. So check it out. I'm just gonna break it down because it was super interesting. Apparently, the game will try to spawn you within 17.5 meters of your teammate if it's one person spawning on the other person, right? And that is limited to specific respawn points. So if there's 5 respawn points around the map, it's gonna say, is there any one of them around me within 17.5 meters of my friend here? Okay, so it's gonna look in a circle, and if it's available there, then it's gonna respawn in that spot, right? But if it's not, then it will spawn to any random point on the map. So apparently, people control this super well. Apparently, suicide is very valid as a tool in Combat Evolved, because if you are in a position where you're gonna spawn on a very poor spot, it's better for you to just take a kill, right? And both of you get random spawns, so that you get a better position, which is I've never heard of something like that. I was like, wow, okay, people actually game the respawn system like that. Apparently, it happens all the time on certain maps where, like, if your teammate is down and you're in a bad spot where you know the respawn point isn't good, take the death. Both of you are going to respawn randomly, and you're probably going to spawn on a very good weapon. Which is like, wow, okay, I've never heard of something like that.
Yeah, that's actually insane. Like, I used to play a lot back in the day, but never competitively, you know?
Yeah. Competitive Halo is a very niche thing.
Yeah, it's, I always played very casually. I actually played on PC. I grew up on the PC version.
Yeah, on the PC, custom edition.
Yeah, custom edition. And I don't think I've ever had as much fun with a with a shooter than I did, in high school playing the original Halo.
Yeah,
it was so much fun, and I'm actually really looking forward to jumping back in, because thanks to handy dandy game share from Steam, I just realized that I have access to the Master Chief Collection.
You have it! Nice. Oh, wonderful!
So it's gonna be
we gotta get in there, man.
Yeah, we gotta get.
And we got Payne. Shout out to Payne. I seen that he was streaming it the other day.
Yeah.
He's got to get in it too, man, for sure, man.
We got to get a 4-man going.
We got to have a GBL night.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm with it.
I'm glad that we can come to an agreement on that.
For sure, man.
So Halo, I mean, we're gonna be playing it a whole lot. Yeah, 2v2 scrims, that'd be sick, actually. 2v2 challenge, we should do that. Shout out to the chat. 2v2, I like that. But Halo, obviously, if you guys are familiar with us, Halo is part of our identity. If you're not familiar with it, we stream Halo all the time. Everybody here kind of loves Halo. It's just something that we all kind of share. So I'm very glad that this experience continues. I'm hoping that Halo 2 comes really soon. I'm hoping that Halo 3 comes really soon. Halo 3 is a big one for me. But it's just something that we're gonna have continuous conversations about towards the end of the year when these games keep dropping every couple months, right? So
Yeah.
super into it, super glad. Aliens, you wanted to talk about Doom, and we're gonna talk about Doom a little briefly, and then we're gonna talk about it next week because it does drop the next week on the 20th, and we have one more podcast before that. So what do you think about Doom? What have you been looking at?
I gotta see a gameplay video maybe about 2 days ago. Maybe it was about 14 to 16 minutes long. And if you liked Doom 2016, then prepare because this is gonna be more of the same, but a whole lot better. You have the new mechanic with the super shotgun that you can go ahead and use the chain to bring
Pull your
yourself closer
enemies,
to the
yeah.
enemies. Yeah, and then you have the dash, the air dash, and man, I saw it and it just looked really good. I mean, Vulcan, I'm sure you said the other day they had the update on OBS, right? So
Yeah, for Vulcan capture, so it's gonna be using some next level stuff.
so yeah, man, I'm telling you, that game is gonna be sick, man. It's gonna be sick. Like Payne said, the meat hook. Yeah, I mean that game, man. I'm telling you, man. Like it was so intense watching the guy play the game. Like it's like he said, the whole point of the game is to not stop moving. Don't stop moving because the minute you stop, you're gonna get fucked up. So just looking at it on screen, comparing it to the first one, well, not the first one, but the one that came out a few years ago, it just seems like there's so much more going on the screen now. So it looks like it's a lot tougher because I remember playing 2016 when I first got it on the PS4, and it took me a while to get used to it because it was so different. Everybody was so used to, holding down the left trigger, to go ahead and aim, and it was just so much different. So looking at this one, I think it's going to have a similar learning curve, but it's gonna be worth it, right? Because once you got used to the previous one, I mean, everything just felt easy. And also one thing I did remember about the previous was that the game, it's designed in a way for you to feel like you can't die. You know what I'm saying?
It's a power trip,
you
that's for
can't
sure.
die. Exactly. So like you're supposed to go in there with the mindset that I'm gonna tear shit up. And I have all the tools here, and there's enough health, and there's enough armor and ammo, because you can go ahead and use a chainsaw to get, armor and ammo and all these things, right? So the game is, if you're new to Doom, the game is geared to make you feel like you're unstoppable. So you have to play that way. Meaning you constantly need to keep moving, you constantly need to keep shooting, you need to constantly find ways to get these guys, whether it's a glory kill or just blowing them up with the rocket launcher or anything like that. You have to come into it with a mindset that you are the Doom Slayer, right? You're Doom guy, and you're there to fuck shit up. And if you play like that with that mindset, you're gonna have a lot of fun because it's just constant action. And then of course, I remember Payne was talking about the soundtrack, right? And then they were talking about how what if that was in Mortal Kombat?
Yeah,
it just has coming this, back is. Yeah, it just has this effect on you where you just want to dig deep and just rip all these demons apart, and it's actually quite enjoyable. It's crazy, but I'm really looking forward to it because, like I said, I really enjoyed the previous one. I got it on PS4 and on PC. That's how good it was. So I know this one here, it's gonna be up for Game of the Year, no doubt in my mind. The previous 100%. one won Game of the Year, so I'm not worried about. I mean, in a different publication, there's so many publications that do Game of the Year, but the previous did win Game of the Year, and I forgot which publication it was, but it did. So they're just gonna go and up the ante on this one, ID Software, and even in the video they were talking about how it felt very Quake-like.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Oh yeah,
we'll
with
see
all the power-ups and the abilities. I mean, it's
yeah,
drawing
it
on
felt
the
very
best of that
Quake-like.
era.
So we'll see, right? But obviously we'll get more into detail next week because I'm sure they're going to be releasing a whole lot more footage this week, and we do expect to at least have that on the channel. So if you're interested in getting Doom, stick around, follow us on social media and join the Discord because we're gonna have that game. We're gonna go ahead and
Yeah, we're
stream
gonna
it.
be talking about it.
Many of us are gonna stream it. I'm probably gonna stream it. Sephiroth Evil is probably gonna stream it. He's actually getting the collector's edition that comes with the big helmet and everything.
Oh man.
So
wow.
yeah, he's hardcore. He loves Doom. Shout out to
Yeah.
Seth. But yeah, he's getting that. He helped. With us being able to go ahead and get the funds for the PC version. So just stick around because next week it's Doom week, man. We're gonna go ahead and talk a lot Doom next week's podcast for sure.
I'm interested in deep diving into the multiplayer mode, battle mode, when we get a chance to talk about it because I wasn't sold on it at first. I have to look at it again. What I'm gonna be doing is doing my homework on battle mode, any footage that they have, what it's possibly like, and then I wanna give my impressions for this week, and then see it actually being played, and then be like, okay, well, this is interesting. People have had this kind of retrospective on Doom's multiplayer. It's not like knock it out the park amazing, but it is a very interesting mode. It draws on classic deathmatch. So a lot of people actually been streaming Doom multiplayer, Doom 2016 multiplayer.
Yeah, arena, man. It's just arena-based shooters, really. Just at close quarters. Constantly moving around, power-ups.
You're telling me I've been playing arena shooters this whole weekend.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about Doom next week. I want to talk briefly about my impressions of Diabotical. If anyone's not familiar with it, it's an arena shooter in the style of Unreal Tournament and Quake. We got access to closed beta during weekend number 2. I had access towards the end of new weekend 1, but I wanted to wait until weekend 2 to try it out. I will say, if you're interested in it, check out videos on the channel. I played some FFAs. You can check it out. I don't think the team-based modes are that great. They didn't quite do it for me. I'm hoping for a more objective-based team mode, like Capture the Flag or King of the Hill or Oddball, anything, because I think that the ones that they have right now are basically just kill the other team with like one condition, right? Like increasing respawns or instagib or anything like that. And those things are fun, but I think free for all, where you get all the weapons available to you in the game, all the weapons feel super great. By the way, the movement is slick, the weapons feel good.
I saw that.
They're skill based. They're absolutely skilled. Nothing feels stronger than the others. I mean, the lightning gun is obviously amazing, but it's not like you need to win. You need to know every weapon. You need to know what situation is best for your weapon. And I think that is absolutely practically unheard of nowadays, right? Like, to have to deal with the entire arsenal to excel is something that you don't see a whole lot, right? Like, you just see the meta shifts. Oh, this gun's good. Oh, this gun's good. Or, this loadout is better than others. But this game presents you every single option. Just good luck playing them, right? So I had a lot of fun with Diabotical. I'm going to probably check it out the next weekend, and I'm going to try to give some more impressions. Shout out to the character creator. We created an absolute monstrosity on stream last weekend. It's really funny because you just add stickers on your robot, and they went all out with some of the crazy things that you can put in there. So it's a lot of fun. Check out the footage on the site.
When does that closed beta end, actually, too?
It's 5 weeks, so I think there's about 3 more weekends that they're going to be doing, and they're going to be adding features over the weekend. So get in now. They've given out apparently hundreds of thousands of keys at this point. So I think if you want to play it, just put your email in there. You're probably going to get it. Except for Diz, if you're in the Twitch chat, you told me you didn't get it. I hope you get it though, if you're listening.
I mean, I'm telling you, I saw you playing it. I saw the footage, and it definitely reminded me more so of Unreal Tournament.
Yeah, I mean, it's designed by Unreal Tournament professionals. That's just the special part about it, right?
There you go. That answers everything.
It's designed by 2GD, former pro and arena shooters. Spent 7 years on the project, actually. So This has been they created their own engine, their own netcode, just to fuel the game, which is really great, right? Because nowadays, with the advancement of things like Unreal Engine and Unity and stuff like that, they ship with netcode. They ship with online functionality. The thing is that it's not specialist functionality, right? It's made for this surface level experience that is okay in just generic action games or things that don't have this enthusiast base. The netcode has to be just right. We should be so familiar with this as a fighting game fans, right? When I played Diabotical, I said, you know what? This is an enthusiast product. They're making this because they really like this genre and they like to compete in this genre, and it's absolutely a lot of fun,
so
right?
They know the demands.
But it has all the little bits, all the little fine tweaks. It has a HUD editor and just all these system options that you can get under the hood with, and you can really build your experience. So I had a lot of fun with it. I think if you guys want to play it, diabotical.com. It's going to be free to play on the Epic Game Store, so if you don't get a chance to play it, you will when it gets released, and you'll be able to play completely free on your PC. So, keep your eye out.
I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna see if I can log onto their website, see if I get in. Because yeah, I saw you playing, and I'm like, looks pretty cool. I mean, even though, like you said, free for all, it's about it. The team based stuff, you weren't really feeling it, but just to get that sort of old school arena with a new twist seems interesting. I definitely would be willing to check it out for sure.
Yeah, check it out, guys. If all these games that we've been talking about, Battle for the Grid, Diabotical, all these nice things, right? So
Lots of good stuff.
lots of great stuff. So I think that calls it about it for this podcast. Just keep in mind, as always, we'll be back next Monday, 9 o'clock Eastern. And keep it here for more info. Follow me on Twitter, on Twitch. Here, if you're probably on Twitch already watching this, follow us on Gotta Be Legend on YouTube. We have a Patreon. We have, all kinds of things that you guys can offer. And check out Protodad. Obviously, he's going to be hosting a bi-weekly starting on the 13th for Smash. So if you like Smash, go check him out on Twitter, Protodad Plays or Protodad Dojo on Twitch, right? Just keep up to date with him. The man's, the best guy I know for Smash. So there you go. And keep it here for more coverage, guys. That's going to be it from us. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your week, and we'll see you next week.
Take care.
Take care.
Peace out, fellas.